Happy Advent, my brother.
Happy Advent. Hey, welcome to Plow and Potato. You are tuning in, watching in, listening in on our very special Deck the Hall episode. And may I just make a quick note? It's Deck the Hall, not halls, right?
Just one hall.
Just one hall.
The mighty Anglo-Saxon hall of the Christian saints.
People want to not mighty Anglo-Saxon it. They want to S it up. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
So we have a Deck the Hall episode for you. We have a really interesting segment where we're going to talk about a really great Advent hymn. We're going to jump into some theology of Advent.
Who describes a segment as interesting?
What?
Someone who's afraid that it's not going to be interesting. Can you guarantee levels of interest?
Are you Freuding me right now?
I'm just saying, like, nobody says we have an interesting segment except you, dude. All right, the segment is interesting, though. It goes beyond interesting into compelling. Lo, how a rose ere blooming. We're going to be doing it.
Yeah, I'm just so taken back.
I thought interesting was
are you
good.
Thinking like I'm apologizing for...
Interesting is what people say when the cake falls down or something else goes wrong with a dish.
That's actually a really good point. Mm-hmm. Not to get too sidetracked, but I'm a music teacher,
yeah.
And one of my students, when we have a mistake happen, which is often because that's what the way of the musician, we say, "Oh, that was really interesting."
See?
How did it go? They say, "Oh, that was really interesting." Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So,
well, if everyone is hearing uproarious laughter in the background, it's because today we have an audience. We're having a Christmas party right now.
We're partnering. It's like a way to barter.
We're partnering and partying.
We're partnering. Wow, is that actually a word?
It is now. Keep going. Truck through.
We're partnering, and we are recording at the same time. And Lord willing, some of these fine people on the inner circle, not the inner circle, it's just the Moscow circle, will be making an appearance, giving us their 2 cents on traditions.
He said not the inner circle, just the Moscow circle. Before the show, we said, make sure we don't give the impression that people who live in Moscow get to be part of the inner circle more than people who don't.
Yeah.
So everyone in Missouri, everyone in Arizona,
Kentucky,
everyone around
Florida.
the country,
Yeah,
hey, you can be our inner circle too.
$100 a month, you are in the in the inner circle.
That's all it takes.
That's how you get it. All right.
And boom, just like that, we're monetized. Give them the structure of the show.
I just did.
You did, okay.
Yeah, and then you started talking about the Floridans.
Okay, all right,
But
so who's our sponsor then?
our sponsor is Kepler.Education. For short, it's just Kepler Education. They are in the business of training up young people in the way of the Lord by having independent teachers who are very well experienced and qualified teaching.
So if you take
online courses.
algebra from Kepler, that algebra will be bringing them up in the way of the Lord.
And don't just take it from me. Check out this short video.
It was my wife in the very beginning who was very convinced that we needed to homeschool.
It can be such a struggle to find the right support, the right resources.
Who was going to teach them calculus? Who was going to teach them chemistry? Who was going to teach them algebra? Were we really preparing our children? Kepler is an online platform where Christian families can find quality educators who are committed to their faith.
Kepler is unique because we are not a traditional school. Instead, you can choose the teachers that fit your family's needs the most, and you don't have control over that at other online schools because you're buying into the school, not the teacher.
Our teachers are educated, they're passionate about classical Christian education, they're passionate about investing themselves into students.
I teach because I want people to know and love Jesus.
Wow, magic.
Now, there's just so many magical things. It's going to be hard to keep a tight structure. I don't even know what I'm drinking, but it looks like a dessert.
It basically is. This is a Pittman special. The Pittman family is with us in this party. This is eggnog, peanut butter whiskey, chocolate, and whipped cream.
Do I have anything on my mustache?
Peanut butter whiskey. No. I bet I'm going to get some on my mustache because my mustache is better than yours.
Now, before we actually jump in, there's actually like a bunch of pauses. Oh my, you look gross.
I had my son get napkins before we started the show.
I'll have you know, I crossed a beard threshold this last week. I was eating, oh goodness, what I was eating. I think it was some sort of, it was onion dip, right? And I was about to go somewhere and I had some stuff on my beard. And so I took a picture of it and sent it to my wife and said, hey, We've done it today. I now have a beard capable of holding substance on it.
One of the best dynamics of this show, like as far as my enjoyment has gone, has been being able to be the older man, the foil to Sean's coming into his own as a man of God. And here you have the beard of a man of God now. This is not the beard you had when we met.
See, the key, the trimming technique is the technique. It's the approach. You have to bring it high.
Don't act like you're an expert now. I said a nice thing about your beard. Let's get into
You were leading with the
foliage.
foliage.
Yeah.
So we're going to play a short recording from the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. No sponsor.
No way, dude.
No, we can. It's fine.
No, let's be divisive on the podcast. This clip that you're going to hear is not going to be from Mormons. We're not going to have Mormon music on our show.
It's not Mormon music.
I'll read Mormon science fiction.
It's Christian music
it is,
that the Mormons
but I'm not going to let
recorded.
Mormons sing it.
No,
What, are you going to have the Muslim choir next?
No, okay.
A Christian choir is what you're going to hear. I'll make sure of it, guys. Don't worry.
Listen to the first verse of Lo How a Rose Ere Blooming, maybe by Mormons.
Amid the cold of winter.
That's very fascinating, in fact. I was going to have you speak to some of the poetic devices
But I could
featured
sing
in this
to that.
composition. Did you know how smart that sounded?
That was pretty good, dude.
Sir Joffrey, would you please speak to this?
So normally when it's a music section,
Cuts
it's like Sean's expertise is coming to bear, and that is what's about to happen.
I'm about to bear it.
Yeah, you are. But yeah, let's talk about these amazing lyrics first, because some of the themes in the lyrics are brought out musically, and you're going to show us how. So this is an Advent hymn. In the first verse we heard, amid the cold of winter, when half spent was the night. And that line, when half spent was the night, occurs again as you do the whole hymn in all its verses. But the hymn is full of the language of waiting, beholding, waiting, finding. And so darkness keeps coming up, darkness and cold. And why? And why does that make it such a perfect Advent hymn? Because we've been waiting for deliverance. We've been waiting for the deliverer. Oh. It's been cold. It's been bitter. It's been long.
Ooh, nice thing that you did there where you're drawing out meaning
I drew
by
it out.
the way you say it.
I feel like that's the perfect transition to the music, because the music does that too, right?
That's right. So the rhythm and the meter that we have in this hymn is really interesting. So rhythm is probably a word that most people are comfortable with. When they're ever talking about a song or talking about genres they like, they might speak to the rhythm like, oh, that has a really nice beat. I like the flow of that. People are generally comfortable with talking about the durations between each pitch and sound within a given piece of music, rhythm. Now, meter is a little bit different. It's a bit of a bigger fish to fry, to handle. You know, that's a really good analogy because fishes are hard to hold and this concept's hard to hold. So I'm bringing the concrete to the meta. All right. Often in early vocal music, there wouldn't be these very square vanilla meters where it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, phrase, 2, 3. Everything fits in a box.
Yeah.
Instead, the melody accompanying the text is trying to serve the text. And the rhythm, or the meter, the way everything is being measured out in terms of duration is trying to fit the text. And this hymn, being a very old hymn, the textual origins go back to Ambrose, so early patristic fellows in the faith. you have that setting of meter, and so it gives a sense of freedom for the text to come through and say what it wants to say. So in the beginning, we have a long note. We have low.
And we're
beholding,
waiting. Yep.
Listen up, drawing in, making everybody assemble before you really get in. And then lo, how a rose there blooming. Then we're going back to the elongation, the stretching out of the rhythm, kind of to mimic or bring an image to mind of a blossoming flower.
Yeah.
There's something very tender stem. There's something very tender about the opening of. There's something slowly, something you just want to sit back and enjoy it as it unfolds.
And not only is so that tenderness with bloom, but flowers keep popping up in the song, and pretty much every time a flower pops up in the song, there's an ascension musically.
Right. So there's two parts to this song. There's this first phrase that we heard, and then it repeats, and then we get into a change of melody. And at that point, the melody descends, but then it has a rising. It has a rising in pitch, but with that rising in pitch, there's also faster rhythms. Mm-hmm. So we've seen basically two types of rhythms. We've seen long, short, 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 long. But now we have short, short, long, a smaller short, a quicker short.
Yeah.
And that's connecting with some of the text we have there. It came a flower bright.
Yeah. And it not only connects with the text, but with the themes, because progression's a really important idea. It's not just that we've been waiting. The music makes us wait. It's not just that we're hurrying toward the day of deliverance. The music does make us hurry.
Right.
It's that the music progresses to a place, just as the people of God, they waited, but then they were delivered. It came, right?
Well,
and even now we can think about that.
That's a really brilliant way to talk about form. So when I said there's two parts, a common musical term that we throw around is form. What's the form of that song? That's just basically how are the main parts laid out? If you're looking at a map, you have maybe this district or that region. The form is like that, high in the sky looking down. In this area, we have that shift. It's like, oh, we've traveled, we're going somewhere. Yeah. So we've talked about the unique rhythm that tries to bring emphasis to the topic and text. We've talked about how melodic turns in marriage with the rhythm can give new perspective. There's also this subtle harmony shift that happens on the word winter and Savior.
I love this.
And heaven. You in every song, there's a set of chords that sound really right. It's all about taking a listener on a journey with chord progression. And in this song, if you insert a chord that's like outside of the norm or the expectation, it perks you up, it draws you in and like, whoa.
And it's on those words, Savior, heaven, winter.
Yeah.
And winter is so important when we're thinking about Advent.
Right.
Right, because it's like, when we were doing, I'm going to steal this from Sean. When we were doing our show prep.
Swiper nose. Have you seen Dora the Explorer?
I have.
Yeah, you're Spanish. You've got to, yeah.
What? Also, I'm not white, so I watch Dora. Yeah, we're not going to get back to that
white people
old conversation.
Watch Dora? How do people learn Spanish?
Yeah. So I feel good about stealing this from you. I was sitting at Sean's feet as the master of music, and he was pointing this out. Like there's this break from the progression right on the word winter, and so immediately it makes you think about winter and bitterness and the waiting of Advent.
Yeah.
And today in the show we're going to be talking about what Advent is, right? Because it's before Christmas, and what does that mean? And part of what it means is bitterly waiting.
We need to work out this idea of Advent, because I think a majority of Christians, they think of Christmas, and then there's the December holiday. But to say, no, we're in Advent, people will be like, what do you mean?
A lot of the traditions that are very conscious about celebrating Advent, for them it's a time of mourning and fasting, like Lent, right?
Yeah.
And the reason for that, and I think this is beautiful in its own way, the reason for that is that we are waiting for Jesus. We've been waiting for Jesus, and it is hard.
Yeah.
Come deliver us, Lord.
Right.
But we want to talk about being commemorative in our observance of Advent. But Advent is that time of waiting.
Yeah. And I like how you distinguish how we should wait. Because being on this side of history, this side of the story, we've seen the play run. We've seen how the plot is unfolded. We know the characters well.
And yet we're still waiting.
And that's part of what makes our worship dynamic,
Yes.
because we can both wait, although we've already received. So Advent is such a great holiday in which to deck the hall, right? The idea of this episode.
And so we're not just thinking about decking the halls as far as Christmas goes, but decking the hall
Of the heart.
decking the hall in Advent. The reason the heart came up
Of the
is,
soul. Decking the soul. Deck the souls.
well, go on.
Deck the souls with boughs of... Go on.
You seem like
you go on.
seem like you had something to say.
I just wanted to say that.
Okay.
And then I was hoping it would just be an interruption. I didn't actually want you to give me the mic because I didn't have anything further to say.
Okay. So we're talking about decking the halls in this Advent show because we both believe that decoration is it's celebratory, but by nature, it's anticipatory.
Yeah.
When do you decorate for Halloween? You don't decorate for Halloween on the 31st.
Yeah, that's a loser. That's what losers do.
That's correct. But Easter, you decorate for Easter ahead of time. So part of the anticipation of Advent, part of the longing, right? We don't need to talk about bitterness anymore. We know where our deliverance comes from.
Yeah.
What we do need to talk about is anticipation. Eagerly, come Lord Jesus.
Yeah.
Look, we put all this stuff up because we know we're going to be delivered.
That's right.
We painted lamb's blood on the door jambs, and we put up stockings.
And lights. Because
And
he's
lights.
the light of the world.
Yeah.
It's amazing, that phrase, deck the hall. It really doesn't live in our speech outside of us singing it. But deck, I think, as a public school kid, I think of the verb to hit. In the mouth, to deck. So
All right.
when I think deck the hall, you might think going into the hall and just punching it. I don't. Do you get that image ever?
Never.
Well, you're more
But I want you to
educated than me.
expand it.
Now, deck has a broader semantic domain
Okay.
than just striking somebody with a blow from a clenched fist. In fact,
We could push that though. We could say
It's
that
hitting
decking the halls is hitting
the
Satan.
devil in the face.
Yeah, dude, come on. Boom. We just made that up.
that high five was one of our best. I
So
must say.
everybody decked their halls and high five better than we did.
Dude.
Proceed.
Deck your deck. No,
Deck your wassail is what he was
deck
gonna
your
say.
family, but the right
But
kind
the
of
other
decking.
way, the right kind of decking.
Not with the clenched fist.
Okay.
The second definition of deck, which you should do with your family, is take your house, take what you have, and cover it, adorn it. That's this idea.
So we should deck
of
our wife.
Yes, we should deck your wife.
You didn't want to say it before, but yeah.
Well,
so deck your wives.
I went there, I pulled back, you pulled back with me, and then you
but
went forward.
once you explained it, it felt better.
But yeah, everyone knew what I was saying.
I'm not sure that they were ready. Really, honestly, if you had just said at that moment, deck your wife after talking about punching, but we're saying make her beautiful, adorn her,
You need to jump.
and your hall.
You need to jump into the decoration tradition.
Because you're anticipating, you're excited about Christmas. Advent is a time of waiting, which is a time of excitement. The kids can't wait to get their presents.
Yeah.
They can't wait to get Jesus.
Emphasize all the theological business around this holiday. You do it in the waiting. You do it with the Christmas tree and its evergreen quality. It's pointing to heaven. You do it with the lights that are strung everywhere and have a great potency in the night. All of those things can point to Christ.
Yes.
But it's amazing how our decorations also have a very secular feel. Like a Christian's
Well,
home.
look at
could
our table.
I know.
There are no crosses. There's no
Is there a-
icons
is that
of
a
saints or
reindeer?
Jesus. Reindeers, pine trees as found outside Jerusalem.
Yeah.
A poinsettia.
Poinsettia. We've got it all. So don't look at me like that.
We argued about how to pronounce the name of that plant.
Well, we went on a shopping spree, a very heterosexual shopping spree. And
We were together. What's the name of that store?
Michael's.
We were together in Michael's, standing very close to each other.
I was not standing close to Joffrey.
Yeah. So anyway, proceed.
Well, we were trying to get help from, saleswomen that work there, and we were just being funny and entertaining, like our normal bit.
which is heterosexual. Heterosexual people are funny and
Heterosexual people are
entertaining.
entertaining, yeah.
Let's move on.
Okay. So, how can we move on? We have a lot of ways
We're
that
talking
we
about
can.
secular
I know.
decorations.
I was
Okay,
I
you're
was
there.
running.
Sorry.
We have all these ways in which we decorate and we make hard theological Christian connections, but there's also a lot of things that's like, well, that's not really in the Bible.
Right.
How fitting is it to adopt like unreligious traditions or decorations during the holiday?
I think it's very fitting as long as you have that solid foundation. In fact, it should be a natural outflow from that. So you know what? On top of your tree is probably a star. That's the Star of Bethlehem. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Or you put an angel up on top of your tree. But we can actually even overemphasize those things sometimes. You ought to have traditions and celebrations that make it clear. We have been waiting for Jesus. Jesus has come.
Yeah.
And we're so happy about it that we have roast pork and colored lights, and we have pine tree branches everywhere, and it makes sense. Why does it make sense? Because we're happy.
That's right.
And Christians in Fiji are going to have something different than what we have. Yeah. That's fine. We all are so excited about Jesus that we did all of this stuff and we made all this beautiful stuff. And it's okay if we can't say, well, this comes exactly from this text, and this is instructing us in this particular Christian truth. We're just so happy. We're pouring it all out.
That's right. It is right and necessary for Christians to enjoy the things of this earth.
Yeah.
And we need to enjoy those things, let them have their boundaries and a proper priority in a Christian way. And when we do that, we bring a fuller glory to God. Like,
Amen.
as we live and are trying to shine, be reflecting, having his image be more present on us, the more we do everything in a Christian manner and not like leave stuff outside of our dominion or outside of our hand.
But take it all in.
As we all,
that's right.
Just get around that bowl.
Yeah.
I was also a swimmer and a swim teacher, and sometimes we talk about a stroke, the breaststroke, and so you stretch out and then you turn, and now you're in an ice cream bowl, and you get every last piece of ice cream, and then do it again.
So
as
the
a Christian
life, the celebratory life, is a breaststroke.
It's look at that.
Okay.
See, do that with
I like
me.
that.
Scoop. Oh, but don't.
I don't have enough. No, because if I do that,
I know, but you don't have to piano finger it. You're like, don't ruffle the edges as you go. Just like, I would love to see you in the water.
I was a good swimmer, even though you made fun of my little.
Yeah. And a final note on this idea of unreligious traditions or points that seem like, secular and dull and we should kick them out is, it was our pastor who I think said in one of his most recent sermons, we can't let them be our teacher, but they can be incorporated in the day-to-day.
And more than incorporated, expressions of our joy.
Ooh, express yourself.
Now,
I have a very brilliant Christmas story, a funny one. Let me tell you guys
it's going to be brilliant.
About the time where I found out Santa Claus wasn't real.
My wife is watching. She's going to love this story. She has a great story about finding out Santa Claus wasn't real. Go on.
I was probably 6, and
my wife wasn't 6.
We were in the home of my mom and my sisters, and as an eager young kid, I spent the night with my sisters and was looking forward to waking up early and seeing the presents that Santa brought. Because you always have like the dynamic of the presents that are revealed that you see and you get that whoa moment, and then you have the presents you dive into. So I was excited of going downstairs and getting the wonder of gifts. So I woke up early, went downstairs, nothing. I was like, I guess Santa hasn't come yet. So I went back upstairs. Really not long later, I was like, maybe he's come now. So I went downstairs, nothing. And then I told my sisters about it, like, Santa's hasn't come. And they're like,
you know what? I just realized I was telling this story, and it's a good story.
Thank you.
Just suddenly got worried. There are little kids in this room with us right now.
Yeah.
Are we about to ruin any parental labors?
It's PG-13.
This
is the warning now.
Every little child in this room knows Santa Claus is not real. I just checked.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Did you get like the nods?
Yeah.
Like it's okay.
We're good. So keep going.
I told my sister that again. The first time they're like, just go to bed still early. It's only 2 a.m.
You were such an excitable kid. Okay.
And then, I fall asleep for a longer period, and all of a sudden it's 9 o'clock. The sun's super bright, and I go downstairs. I'm like, what the heck? Where's Santa at? Like, did he forget us this year? Go back, tell my sisters, and they're like, they kind of spring awake, and they, just stay here. They go wake my mom up.
Yeah.
Mom gets up, kind of scattered, and I'm locked in the room. Mom goes downstairs. All of a sudden, Santa came.
Hey, wait a second.
Yeah.
I'm a sharp 6-year-old. Oh, man.
I know. It was kind of like, and my poor mom.
Yeah.
What a great woman. And it's kind of like, ooh.
Well, that story actually kind of brings, so we were just talking about apparently secular traditions in celebrating Christmas.
Apparently.
Because we've talked about, not only do we incorporate them, but they can be expressions of our joy.
Yeah.
But what about Santa Claus? Is Santa Claus a good?
This is how you do it. All right. I did this with my student last week.
Wait, you have a student who believes in Santa?
No,
Okay.
but she's 8, so she's younger. And these
okay.
conversations are a little bit more lively.
Yeah.
And somehow the question was posed to me, do you believe in Santa Claus? I was like, yeah, of course I do. And then she's thinking like, no, Mr. Bonet, you can't believe in Santa Claus. He's not real. I was like, yeah, he's real. And then I give him the punchline. He's dead, but he's real. Right.
Okay.
And then I bring him back.
So you bring out the St. Nicholas
I bring
thing.
out the St. Nicholas. So Santa
I'm
is a
actually way
good
more hardcore.
because it is reflective of a Christian. And although he's sort of been stripped of a lot of his significance as he was a Christian, you still have some of the characteristics, some of the things that he did that are highlighted in the idea of Santa Claus, of the giving.
Yeah, so then that's the part I latch on to. I think so. Santa Claus is a nice story, but I think for Christians, the way a lot of people use Santa Claus is, I will just put out there, is Antichrist.
Okay.
Because Santa Claus, so not St. Nicholas,
Yeah.
but Santa Claus ends up taking the place of Jesus. Jesus needs to get the credit for the gift
the
giving.
center of,
Yes,
yeah.
and in fact, there's even like an apologetics within your family sort of sense of, so if you have been told by your parents that Santa Claus is real, and they've insisted on it even when you doubted until you're 8 years old and you finally figure it out, why would you believe what they're telling you about Jesus?
Right, yeah.
I actually think there's a pernicious aspect to it, where if you're telling your kids, and I'm just putting it out there, people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my wife Kimberly had that happen, and then Aaron, who's in the audience, is saying that also happened.
Giving testimony.
A crisis of faith because mom and dad said Santa was real. He's not. They say Jesus is real, and Jesus saves me. What if he's not? So I mean, as a story, it's nice. Right. And in our family, and in fact, when I was brought up, Santa Claus was always just a story. I never thought
never
that
elevated
Santa was
to
real.
He is actually
Yes.
coming. He is
So my
this
wife,
weird eternal being
Right.
in the North Pole.
And when my wife is on this rant that I'm on now, she tells people, so I'll just tell the world, like she used to pray to Santa.
Like, please bring me a gift.
Yes, exactly. And why would you do that to your kids?
Growing up as a Christian.
So right, well, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But if you have, if your family has no background of Santa's real, then hey, great, it is a great story. It's joyful, it's bountiful.
Yeah, sure.
There are presents everywhere,
Yeah.
and Jesus is the greatest gift giver. That's fine.
Yeah.
But Santa Claus stands in the place of Jesus in a lot of families, and that can't be.
Yeah, and Santa ultimately is bringing gifts of physical value. What I love about the Christmas season is the time to reflect beyond the great physical blessing that Christ gives us and look about how valuable things like the fruit of the Spirit and the salvation of Christ is to us. Like, in terms of things we want to possess and own, those gifts are of the top. Like, I would rather have a great sense of patience, contentment, and joy than a very large house with 5 rooms and 5 bathrooms and acreage, right?
And of course, God gives us all of those gifts. And contentment and joy, for example, can often lead to other great gifts from God that may include chocolate bars, and be quite physical.
That's right.
But that's right, exactly. It all comes from God. So talking about Santa Claus and talking about gifts has got me thinking about Christmas and Advent traditions. We have an Advent tradition. This is more of an Advent
Where
show.
you dress up as Brazilian Santa Claus.
Right.
And come
Brazilian
in
Santa
with your
Claus is a
halter
thing.
top.
He's a parrot with a beard. We have an Advent tradition that is very celebratory. So I thought I could share that with folks. And then we'll bring on some people to share some of their Christmas traditions.
Let's do it.
Okay. So Advent in our house is not simply a time of fasting and waiting, but a time of eager anticipation and celebration. And of course, during any time of fasting, like for example with Lent or any time of fasting, we never fast on Sundays. Sundays are always a feast day.
It's the Lord's Day.
Always a day of celebration. That's right. So every Sunday of Advent, in the evening, we all open a present.
Nice.
So instead of having a
So
whole...
you better shop early.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, Kimberly does. But, instead of having a bunch of presents on Christmas, we kind of, it's fewer presents on Christmas, but there's a small present for each of us every Advent Sunday. And just the thrill and the joy and the excitement that builds up, as we're looking forward to the big payoff of Christ's coming.
What is the climax of your family's waiting? Is it like on Christmas Day? Is it at the end of the 12 days?
Christmas morning.
It's like, yay, we've made it to this day.
And then we keep the tree until Three Kings Day.
Okay.
But, the first day of Christmas is kind of the peak of Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really great. So we've got some very intelligent and interesting people just beyond us who have Christmas traditions and stories.
Is the fact that they're intelligent an important part of their being here?
So who wants to come on first?
Come on, Marcus, you're right here.
Marcus! Come on down. You're the next contestant on
Are you able
Plowing
to scoot at
Potato.
all?
Oh, you want me to scoot?
Just a little.
So just hook up there yonder mic on you, and we'll let
Daughter, could I have a little
hear
glass
you.
of Jameson, please? Thank you.
I'll take the Jameson, please.
Jameson, please.
It goes great with my Irish heritage.
So this is Marcus Pittman, y'all.
Hello. My wife makes good drinks, doesn't she?
This is her work. I drank all of it already. What have you got over there?
I've got the thing.
So she set up a whole cocktail station that was composed of a mason jar of eggnog with a little nozzle thing, and then chocolate syrup, whipped cream, and of course the peanut butter whiskey in case anyone wanted extra whiskey. I did. Tell us about like a Christmas tradition you guys have.
So, you were asking me about a family tradition
For
that,
Christmas.
that me and my wife do?
Or what? Yeah, I mean, if there's one that you grew up with, an awesome tradition.
Yeah, so we're just getting into the Christmas traditions because we've only been married going on 3 years.
Right.
So we're still figuring out what those traditions are. For sure, it's to go back to family in Virginia. So we'll plan on doing that. But a tradition that I grew up with was when I was a kid, me and my brother would go to this, one of our family friends' house, who we thought was our aunt, but wasn't really. We just called her aunt. We didn't know that
He
for
was
a
called your aunt?
No, it was she.
Oh.
Yeah, she was called our aunt. And we thought she was family, but she wasn't. But anyway, every Christmas Eve, we would go to her house, and she would just give us so many presents.
Like good presents?
Tons of presents.
Nice.
Like, I don't even know if we had room in, like, the car most Christmas Eves to go back. And then her kids got married and had their own kids, and then by that time, like, it was kind of like done for us. But
I kind of love that story because I'm Brazilian, and growing up in Brazil, it's pretty much it's like basically one present for Christmas, and then just one present, and it's easy to be really virtuous about that. Like I moved up here, and it's like, oh, look at the decadence. And my dad, had a similar attitude. Like, look at all this, it's outrageous. 50 presents per child. It's just unholy. And then at some point, I as an adult, what am I doing? Like, this is a time of great celebration. These people have plenty. They should be giving plenty. Like,
That's right.
If you can afford 50 presents for your kids and still
go.
stay a good parent, but like, just do it.
Yeah.
And I love that there's this woman who's not even blood related who's showering you with gifts.
yeah, every Christmas was awesome.
Now, is that something you'd want to adopt yourself, to be a showerer?
Of my own kids.
Yeah, exactly. Like at some point, the money runs out.
At some point, right now, but maybe eventually, that'd be nice to be able to like just bless a family with like just
Well, I love
I feel like a Christmas movie style Christmas morning, where you just like the kids run down and just everything is just filled.
This is gonna take
Like-
forever.
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome.
I want to get your take, since you're here, on Christmas budgets and the giving. Like, would you be willing to like press to shower? Would you like go beyond the common?
no,
No.
I
You
would
set a limit.
I wouldn't like go into debt for Christmas.
Okay,
Yeah, don't spend money you don't have.
but you'd push it.
Yeah, I'd push it,
Nice.
but I wouldn't ever cross the line.
Well, and that just means that it's a priority, right? This is something important in my life,
Yes.
so I'm going to invest in it.
Yes.
But obviously, I'm not going to sell the plow horse
Or the potato.
or the potato horse, for that matter.
That's the title.
Got it.
Nice, dude.
Thanks.
Oh, he knows. He's a faithful and regular listener. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you.
Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Appreciate it. Aaron?
Marcus, you know what the tradition is? You know what our tradition is, Marcus? No. I buy gifts
Making out.
myself, and I wrap them and put them to Laura from Marcus.
Oh.
I put them last
There's
year.
a little bit of that in every family.
And then he gets confused. Last year he was like,
Did
I
I?
don't remember buying
Yeah.
that for you.
You're a better husband than you think.
If you didn't get the scoop of that, the Mrs. Marcus Pittman was telling how she would buy presents for herself, wrap them, put them in the tree, and then do the whole
But from him.
from
Yeah.
Marcus.
So
to-
not only does she get the presents Marcus buys her, she gets the presents she buys herself on behalf of Marcus. That's good wifing.
What a good husband, though, right?
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. This is Aaron Holder.
The man, the myth, the Texas legend.
Indeed.
The Longhorn.
I'm caught between two Texans.
Howdy do.
Tell us about an Advent of Christmas tradition.
So
That's called the
Christmas
Texas
for our
folklore.
family was the holiday. Like birthdays, you go out to eat maybe, which was a rarer occurrence, but it was all about Christmas.
Yeah.
So, and I would actually say that I did learn from my family what it meant to go into Christmas in excess, because they would go
Oh,
into debt for
nice.
Christmas.
Nice. In excess, dude.
Nice.
Like bad.
No, learning how not to
bad.
do that.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not like going
yeah.
into debt or whatever.
Yeah,
Oh,
like they
okay,
would
my
go
bad.
into debt for Christmas because it was such a big deal to them
Oh.
to make the experience for us.
I guess we
right?
did agree
so
that
they,
we don't want to go.
I would say, at least in my family, I got to see the idol of the Christmas movie morning because that's what they were chasing from us.
Right.
They wanted to give that to us so bad they were willing to do whatever it took to make it happen. And it's not that I didn't appreciate the gifts, but I was intelligent enough to know that what they were doing for it. So it soured it for me in a lot of
Right.
ways. But our big Christmas tradition was Christmas Eve gift. So on Christmas Eve, it was this game where family members we hadn't talked to for, maybe since Thanksgiving or even last Christmas will call you at 5 a.m. to be the first one to say Christmas Eve gift. It's like whoever can beat you to the punch.
Oh, just wow.
Because it was originally a game where you would, within a family, you'd come down and the first one to say Christmas Eve gift would get to open a gift early, the day early.
Okay.
Our
like
family ended up,
Slug Bug for
Christmas.
Christmas.
Sort of, basically. But it became a thing in the whole family where
That's
it
a
been
cool
like,
idea.
like you would call your great grandma and you would try to slip it, try to get sly on her, say, hey,
How you doing? I love
how
you.
you doing? And you're just gonna try to, and then like the first thing out of her mouth is Christmas Eve gift. Gotcha. Love you. See you at dinner. Bye. And then she just slammed the phone.
That's awesome.
So it was awesome.
Yeah, everyone.
So it was this whole game, and then when you would come together at the event, it was all like I got them and I got them and they got me.
Yeah.
And you just kind of had this whole thing, and then
I can see the families here, thinking about the possibility of incorporating that.
it's just such it costs nothing, and it's in the kind of in like your Advent tradition. Everybody would get to open a gift on Christmas
Yeah.
Eve.
And build that anticipation.
For sure. And that was for us. That was that cliff edge right before you hit the peak of Christmas morning. Like it was all coming up to that point, and the anticipation would just grow and grow and grow. And
I
there's nothing
actually
like it.
love one of the best things about Christmas and the lead up into Christmas is how excited the kids get, because then it gets the grown-ups excited too. Like you remember not only how it felt, but then you remember like the story of God's people. But that there's a raw emotion to the kids thinking about the presents that they're going to get that feeds all the way up into perhaps more spiritual feelings. But it's all powered by
Perhaps.
I'm going to get these presents.
Yeah.
But that's a good human
Yeah.
reaction. Well, and kind of because of the Santa thing that happened in my family, I decided that I wanted to have
What age was that for you?
reason. So for me, it was actually 4th grade. So I was 10.
Okay.
And it was bad for me because I'd actually gotten in a fight at school because I believed it so much because of an event that happened earlier. I knew that my family was dead broke when I was in 2nd grade.
Oh.
And so I didn't ask them for the gift that I really wanted. I asked them for things that I thought they could afford.
Right.
And I asked Santa for a PS2. And I knew there was no way. For me, that was my test.
if a PS2 shows up, Santa's real, because there's no way my parents could make that
That
happen.
gives me chills.
There's
And
logic
so-
to that, dude.
And so I actually fought a kid in 4th grade because he told me Santa wasn't real.
And you were like, PS2.
Dude, I have a
No,
PS2.
Yeah.
Well, that was what I was saying. Is like, no. Like, there's an event. It's like somebody who has a prayer that's answered.
Yeah.
It's a reinforcement of that faith.
Wow.
And when I got home and my parents broke it to me, it kind of tore me up. So for me, not only is it the Christ is the best gift giver, but the first people who came and worshipped the King of the Jews were pagans who had been riding through the desert for 2 years chasing a star that they knew was going to lead to the advent of the Messiah.
Yeah.
Even within his own nation, he didn't have any room to stay, had to be in this manger among the animals. And, obviously later on, right, because of this period, it's after his birth, that they show up and they give him gifts worthy of the highest kings.
Yeah, that's good.
And so it's not only them giving gifts to Christ to honor Christ, and not just in recognition that Christ gives gifts to us, but Christ is the ultimate gift.
Yeah.
He is that bridge that God establishes back that we drove between us and God.
And you don't want Santa Claus getting in the way of all that.
No.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I
To
get
give
it.
Jesus the
I
glory.
wish I had like the what, like the organ tune, like preach, brother.
Like a certain other podcast we listen to. Is there anyone else on board with coming in? Thanks, Aaron.
Gage. There it is. Coming in hot. Hook up, mic up. Nice. What a professional.
Yeah,
That is,
for sure.
You are active, my dude. So, Sir Gage, the Gage himself, the Gagiest, is coming on.
Do you not know his surname? Is that what's happening?
No, Herman.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
I was just gonna stick on the Gage.
Everyone knows him as the Gage.
Just
The Gage. Gage 07.
He's our bellwether. He's our Gage.
Oh, that's funny. I wasn't
Hey, yeah, you like
Yep.
that? Oh, man. Some levels of meaning.
My thinking was smart. Gage, tell us about special family tradition or memory you have.
Sure.
As someone who's a mega dad, you got like 29
Yeah,
kids. Basically.
29, exactly. That's the number. No, 4.
I think your daughter wants to be on camera. You
Oh,
want to bring her
yeah.
on?
Come sit on my lap.
Yeah. Ooh, famous.
This is Avery.
Hi, Avery.
So, we have a few deliberate traditions that we do every year with our family. We have and we always have some kind of advent calendar. This year, we're kind of putting sort of experiences in it. I think so far that's what it's been. I think later there may be some actual little presents and stuff to go in there.
Experiences.
But, yeah. So today we're getting a Christmas tree, or
Oh, wow.
today we're making cookies, or
Oh,
something
that's
like that.
fantastic.
That's a
so
cool
it's on the
idea.
calendar. Like it's not just like
They pull out
Saturday, what we
a
can do
piece
is-
of paper and they read
Today
it.
we're making
Yeah, I'm almost. Is my wife listening to this? This is a cool idea. Of course, we're running out of little kids.
There you go.
We're running out of little kids. Gage still has
December
them.
24th, go get your Christmas tree. There's nothing-
Even the 12-year-old loves it too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What are the other experiences like in that bowl?
Oh yeah. So what was another one? Oh yeah, you guys made Christmas cards.
and we got candy canes.
Got candy canes
canes.
one day and cut out snowflakes. Watched a YouTube video of how to cut
We
snowflakes.
watched Elf.
We watched
and-
Elf.
and
Yep, that
cut
was
out
one.
snowflakes.
Yep. Oh, here's
Yeah, we
another one.
love the movie Elf.
Yeah, that's another tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah, watching Elf and watching Home Alone and Peanuts.
You know, one of the cool things about Advent calendars is the opportunity it is to proclaim the gospel, because so many people don't know what Advent calendars are. More than once in our household, did you lose your mic? Yeah. More than once in our household, we have, we've had people ask us what. Oh, that's what an Advent calendar is. They've heard the expression, but they don't know how it actually works.
Right.
Yeah.
But whose idea was it to have events in it?
Oh, it was my wife this year.
Now
yeah.
it's my
yeah.
turn.
We,
Tonight it's my turn to take
yeah.
this paper.
And is this
Right.
for
Nice.
every day?
Yep, all
Holy
25.
smokes,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
But it
It's
sounds
a-
like they're running out of ideas, because soon it's going to be candy. I don't think the kids. I don't think
We're
the kids
already
will be
at candy.
upset.
It's gonna
No.
be candy
Yeah.
canes.
That'll be a good day when they finally get some candy in there.
Well, what a brilliant concept!
Now, is this like in the evening you get together and maybe do it?
Yeah, so far it's been after I get home, so we can all be there.
funny.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Yeah.
Well, there's so many. There are liturgies to celebration, and liturgy is an important part of life. When you can make something into a liturgy, that honestly just helps us be better parents. This is like good for dad to have some structure. Comes home from work, and during this particular period of time, over these next few weeks, I'm going to be able to be conscious about doing stuff with my kids.
Right.
I mean, I know that would be valuable for me.
Yeah, and it's fun.
Last night we did the one with cards and candy.
Made cards for all your
Nice.
friends. Yep.
And you put candy canes in them.
Yeah.
No? I thought I heard you say canes now.
You just ate candy canes?
Oh, you
They
ate
just ate 'em.
candy canes.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Well,
There
thank
you
you.
Yeah, no problem.
Avery made all of the candy canes white.
Avery made the candy cane white for everyone interested.
Thank you. Well, nice.
Yeah, that's good.
What beautiful families.
Yeah, beautiful people we have here.
Listening to Plow and Potato. You could be beautiful too. Join the Discord.
And get beautiful. In the Discord, we have channels dedicated to sharing traditions, to sharing holiday recipes, ideas. So a really great place, not only to get your theological discussions out in a safe space or
A safe space. Do we value that?
It's respectful
We
space.
do all love and respect each other. Yes.
So even if people are like, no, I don't agree that, I disagree. There's no belligerent activities going on in the Discord, or we'll kick you out. Just kidding.
Wow.
No, we probably will though, so don't.
This is such. So here I am, not a millennial, partnered with a millennial, and of course it's the millennial who says, if you come into our Discord, you will be sheltered and cared for, and you, precious little dove, will be loved in our Discord.
Unless
all of that is true, except every once in a while
Except
have
if we
some
don't
excitement.
tolerate you.
Exactly. Like, come on.
Wow,
the
that kind
Discord's
of-
an awesome place to be.
That's the Freud too. You just sandwiched this show with a psychoanalysis of me. I feel
Perfect.
very naked.
Your beard looks good though.
That's all I need.
Enjoy the outro music. Wait. Don't we have
Sign-off
we have a line?
Let your name say it all this week.
Wait, that wasn't it. There was another one in the Discord.
No, but that's like the one people
Let your
like.
name say it all this week.
No, let me look at the Discord one.
Okay.
You can tell. You should.
I'm still not a fan of let your name say it all this week.
I'm not sure
It's
why.
too much thinking. Because it's too much thinking.
like to think about what that means.
Look at this guy. You think he wants to be thinking?
He's a man. He like builds computers for a living.
Thomas, what do you think of let your name say it all this week as a closing line?
I get it, but it is a lot of thinking.
It's a lot of thinking.
So you're saying I'm smart?
Yes. So smart, you need to come down to our level.
Oh no, Cage's him.
What did he say?
We don't watch the show to think.
Yeah, that hurt a little bit.
So,
What he was actually trying to say was, by the time we get to the closing line, we've turned it off.
brain dead. Yeah, we're just like watching the banter.
Just do something like bear fruit, because you're like potatoes and clouds.
Well, we're not animals. The suggestion was just say bear fruit. Like, it's dumb, right?
What? You're talking to my wife that way?
You can talk to
Also, hold on a second. What do animals have to do with bearing fruit? Plants bear fruit.
That's what I'm talking. Oh wait, you're right. Okay.
You're definitely, though, the one who's so smart you have to come down to our level. What were the...
Well, I need to find them. You need to tell the people our
To
Christmas
give
lineup.
us better-
No,
Oh, okay.
our Christmas lineup.
Okay.
It's very interesting.
Yes, I agree.
Are you gonna tell them?
Oh, like here. I thought you were like in the Discord.
No, not everything is about the secret.
I was
Discord.
assuming most of this was edited out.
No, this
How
is gonna be
exciting.
raw.
So I don't
footage.
even know what's happening with the handle thing. Are we doing a listening party?
No.
No. Okay. So next week we are putting out an episode on Handel's Messiah, the Christmas half. We should do an Easter half as well.
For Easter. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the week before Christmas, we're having our Christmas show. Y'all, this was not the Christmas show. This was the Advent show. And finally, we have an Epiphany show. We're being all church calendary for this part of the year because we're feeling so celebratory.
All right. So this one is appropriate. This is from our Aaron Holder suggestion.
Aaron Holder's suggestion. Okay.
He suggests the root that breaks a mountain in two was once planted as a seed by someone like you. Plow and potato.
So long. Plow potato.